David Guetta is currently on tour, but right now he's sitting across the table from me. Hi.
Hi.
So as we're listening to Lovers on the Sun, you seem lost in thought. What were you thinking about as you were listening to yourself?
No, actually, because it's funny because I just finished the album, and but "Lovers on the Sun" was the first record I finished on the album, so it feels already a long time ago for some strange reason. Yeah,
Does it feel good?
yeah, it feels very good. I've worked 3 years on this album, so I'm kind of relieved that it's finally finished. You know?
It's an interesting album because of not only the A-list people you have doing the collaborations with, but because it's got a really broad range. This album. It's called Listen. The title itself is interesting, coming from you. One of the godfathers, some people might say, of mainstream EDM. Your last chart-topping record was called Nothing But the Beat. So I just want to ask you about the title, because this is called Listen. Why that? What does that mean to you?
Well, you understood it already. My previous album was called Nothing But the Beat, and it was all about dancing. And this one is, of course, it's a dance album because I'm a DJ first. But I spent a lot of time on the songwriting, and I've worked in a, let's say, a little more traditional way, and I've worked with like classical music orchestras and a lot of acoustic instruments mixed with electronic. But this is a new thing on this album. So, yeah, I want people to dance, of course, which is almost automatic with me, but also to listen.
You say you approached it in a more traditional way, meaning that you approached it first lyrically and instrumentation-wise rather than...
Yeah, exactly. Let's say that in the past, I would always start with making electronic beats and then write on the top of that. And this time I started by the songs and then produced around using electronics. So if you're not a musician, it sounds the same, but it's not.
Well, explain that difference. I mean, why take that approach with this album?
Because I wanted to give priority to the emotions, to the songs, and also the meaning of the songs. So let's say that I didn't want to get stuck. It's a little hard to explain, but basically, I wanted to have complete freedom on the songwriting and go exactly where I wanted musically, and then later turning into dance instead of making a dance record and then adapting the song to the music. You know what I mean? It's just a question of priority. Yeah, I gave priority to the song.
And in doing that, I mean, this, compared to your other works, this is a very personal album for you, lyrically, especially today. What does that tell us about where you are in this moment of your life?
I'm in my 40s. That's what it's saying. Yeah. Well, I guess, that's... it's very typical because there's something interesting is that I've been a DJ since I was 17, and basically since I'm 17, the people in front of me have the same age, and then
funny how that changes.
But it's true, I play clubs or festivals and everybody's is around 20, 25, that's what it is. It was like this when I was 17, and it's still the same now. So, well, the difference is that some of my original fans kept on being fans, and they keep, coming to my concerts. But most of the people are still the same age. So it's just like one day I woke up and I realized that I was not 17 anymore, and but it's okay, it's just like a moment of asking myself lots of questions about life, about what are my priorities, what I want, and yes, it was also a little bit a complicated moment on a personal point of view. So of course you feel it in the album. It's a little more emotional, a little more melancholic in some of the songs, not all of them. But it's still an album to party to, of course.
I want to ask you about that because you've had a hard year. You and your longtime partner divorced, and you hear your heartache in this album. I mean, heartache is sort of one more traditionally sort of the subject of R&B or country music or folk music, and you have dealt with an emotional difficulties, especially this year. How hard was that? So you're this 40-something guy kind of dealing with that age question that many of us in our 40s do.
I think it's so related, actually. But
but also then you're going through this difficult time in your life. And at the same time, you have to channel that into upbeat dance music.
well, actually, this is the story of my life, to be honest. Since I was a teenager, that's always how I dealt
He's taking his jacket off. You're staying for a while. Yeah, just put it down there.
Yeah, like even when I was a teenager, I was always like kind of channeling my energy in a positive way by making music, you know. And I did the same. Like this, making this album helped me a lot going through this, and yeah, to me, there's no opposition, you know, and it's an album that is asking sometimes certain questions, but it's still a very optimistic album because that's my nature. I'm a very positive person and I like to party, so this is not going to stop.
Well, it's interesting because you say it raises questions and you like to party. I mean, have you come to answers to the questions?
Yes.
Yeah. What have you come to?
Oh my God, that might go a little too deep.
Let's go there.
Well, no, you know, it's just that it's a little personal. Okay. I'm sorry.
So David, I mean,
the whole album is not like this. I just want to make it. I want to make it clear. It was just like a statement of finishing the album with the ballad, but it's still an album to make people dance.
I don't want to take away from that, but you just said you're trying to make a statement.
Yes, yeah. Actually.
What's the statement?
Well, you know, like I think we the first years of my career, I've been really fighting so that EDM gets, you know, the respect and the support that hip hop was getting, or rock, and it happened, which is really amazing. But we are still a little bit categorized in like, oh, it's only like noises, and you know, and this album shows that yes, I'm using those sounds, but I'm also using other melodies and other instruments, and you know, I don't like being you know, put in a box like this. And I think I'm just showing in this album that yes, I can do the typical David Guetta dance beat, and you know, something that is perfect to go train at the gym or to party. But there's also other things that I have to say, and musically, I mean. And I think all the big DJs really, like Avicii or Calvin Harris, myself, you know, we all very musical actually, and there's no accident why certain of us are more successful, and most of the time is because we're more melodic, and it's not only about the sounds and the production tricks. We have this, but we also have the music, and this is an artist album. I think it's not only a DJ album. It is a DJ album, but it shows maybe something a little wider.
And you know, when you started 30 years back, EDM was niche, as you said, and you started
30 years back. It didn't even exist.
Okay, so I mean, you've been through its evolution and through its genesis. I mean, it's music that really you know, kicked off in
Yes.
I mean in North America, but took off in Europe. It didn't find a home in those early days as much in North America.
In the US, it was like really maybe 5-7 years ago. To really cross over, you know, and it happened at the time when I Got a Feeling and Sexy Chick.
And you've been called dance music's crossover champion. It's interesting that you chose that word. Is that an okay title for you?
Oh yeah, completely okay. I know. That's always what I wanted, so I don't have a problem with that at all.
And I ask you that because you know, you have been through various subgenres of dance music, from house to trance to epic club anthems that are played, you know, on top 40 stations now. And I'm not telling you anything that you haven't heard from your critics about dance music's commercialization, especially in recent years, that it moves from this underground thing to becoming a part of a mainstream pop movement, if I can call it that. And I just, one of your critics, Jim Fuseli in the Wall Street Journal, wrote that the radio-friendly move made dance music, quote, meek and calculated, especially when it's spun at high-energy festivals. So do you think that the mainstreaming of dance music has made it less innovative? Or
well, in a strange way, I kind of agree with this.
You do?
And that's why I made this album. And my album doesn't sound like anything that is big in the EDM charts. I started to feel like it was a little bit too formatted, and that's why I wanted to go away from it. The same way that I started to make EDM records because I thought that pop was too formatted, which made me want to play house music. And then I wanted our music to cross over, but when it became this new standard of pop music and it was formatted again, then I tried to create a new format. And that's what turns me on as a producer, to try to find a new sound, new rules every time.
And as you push those boundaries and try new things, I mean, when does it stop becoming part of the established genre of EDM and something new and different?
Well, every time I do it, like when you were talking about the moment where I collaborated with Black Eyed Peas and and Usher and all those people, Akon. Well, Nicki Minaj at that time, we hip hop, urban and house were almost enemies, and it was crazy to create a bridge between those two communities. But I did it, and people loved it. And that was completely against the rules. And then when I worked with Sia later, working with an indie artist like this was also very strange in our music, because everybody was at that time doing the urban dance thing. And now, for me to make a record like Dangerous, that is a down-tempo record, is also very, very strange. But I never really cared about this. Like I'm always trying to reinvent myself, and this is what this album is, And I want to grow musically, And I really think that every time I made an album, it was better than the previous one, and I think I did it again.
And you said about reinventing yourself that it is super challenging, but you've also said it's a lot of pressure.
Yes, that's the biggest pressure for me. Like, people ask me, like, "Oh, your previous album sold 4 million, more than 4 million," which is, like, to give you an idea, because people don't really understand the figures. But like this year, there's probably maybe 2, 3, maybe 4. I don't even think so. Artists, in any genre that sold as many albums than my last album. So that's really a lot. And people ask me like, "Oh, are you under pressure because of that?" And I'm really not. I'm really not, because, maybe I'll sell as much, maybe not. It doesn't really matter. But the pressure was, am I able to come with something new to say? And it's hard, every time after 6 albums to come with something new. It's challenging, and I think I did it. I'm very proud of this album. I'm very happy.
I think people who listen to this album will definitely see that you are striving for something new and pushing boundaries. Really nice talking to you and meeting with you. You can stick around now that your jacket's off. Thank you for
Thank you
for
so
being
much.
Here. That's electronic dance music pioneer David Guetta. His latest album is called Listen, and you can find out more about David's tour dates at www.davidguetta.com. David was here with me live in Studio Q.